good evening, and welcome to the Poetry of Justice show with Jackie Ray Phillips on YikesRadio.com. Here on the Poetry of Justice show, this is where social consciousness meets the arts. And what we do is we select topics that spark the interest and awareness of social diversity, ranging from arts, entertainment, and social justice at large, leaving our listeners thinking and saying,
YikesRadio.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, those are the sultry sounds of my mentor, the Mr. Kevin Nash. And I always give honor and respect to Mr. Kevin Nash because he is the owner of this proprietorship here at Accelerated Radio and YikesRadio.com. And were it not for his brainchild, it would be impossible for me to do what I so love to do here on Saturday nights on the Poetry of Justice show. Ladies and gentlemen, now I'm going to give a very special shout out to some of our sponsorships, starting with Miss Lori G, the benefactor. Ladies and gentlemen, she's not with us tonight. She's in, I believe, Cancun, Mexico right now, but we call Lori G the benefactor, and she is the president of Gingy Productions and Entertainment Company. So I give a very special shout out. She helps keep the engine running here, ladies and gentlemen. And then a very special shout out to G Babies Catering LLC, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to check him out on Instagram. That is Chef Macario. That is my nephew. I want you guys to check him out, guys. GBABBIES LLC. So I want you guys to check him out, ladies and gentlemen. And then I give another very special shout out to, I don't even know what else to say about this amazing individual, the amazing, the legendary Lord Rocker, ladies and gentlemen. I give a very special shout out to this gentleman. He has just revolutionized our lives here on the Poetry of Justice show. So I give him honor and respect. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we give respect to who we call around these parts the Man of Steel. That is WMPJ Steelworks. We'd like to give a very special shout out because if it were not for his contributions, we wouldn't be having this engine doing what we so love to do here tonight. And then, ladies and gentlemen, the sponsorships just keep coming in. I'm grateful to say a very special shout out to APS Muscle Cars Incorporated. APS Muscle Cars is a brand new joint going on over in Signal Hill, California. So we're doing custom rebuilds of hot rods, low riders, motorcycles, particularly Harley Davidsons. If you want, you can also, if you need storing of any particular vehicles, you want to reach out to Memo, ladies and gentlemen. MEMO at APSmusclecars.com. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have embarked here on the Poetry of Justice show. We're flying high tonight. How you guys doing tonight, everybody?
Doing well.
Well, I am sitting here. I'm one of the luckiest people, I think, in the world because I get to sit in front of three amazingly talented, gorgeous, beautiful ladies tonight. So I'm very, very excited. So we're going to get into, we're just going to relax. First off, I want you guys to understand what we're going to do. We're just going to kick back, relax. You know, normally I'm like, oh, yeah. We're not going to do that. Rashid, you see, I have it together. Don't I look composed? Absolutely. See? With the energies you ladies bring for me tonight. So what we're going to do, we're just going to relax and we're truly just going to have a good time. We're going to talk about your amazing stories and your contributions, and we're just going to get into it tonight. So I understand that there's going to be a lot of backstories tonight on some names and who we are as beautiful ladies. But before we get into that, I need you ladies to help me with something. I need you to help me understand Latinx, the phrase Latinx. Who's going to take on first for me? Well, I'm going to give some names first. Let me give out some names, ladies and gentlemen, because I wanted to do names and then bios, but I'm going to do names first because we're going to do bios down the trough. But I have, again, three amazing, beautiful women, Quintel, Sabrina, and Sandra, in the house tonight. So I'm just going to be a little bit of a snot, and I'm going to select Sabrina.
Hey, hey.
Hey, what's up, gorgeous? How are you?
I'm well. Thank you so much for having me here.
You're so welcome. Thank you so much for coming with us. Sabrina, I want to know firsthand from you, we're going to go around the panel of us beautiful ladies tonight. Latinx, that phrase, what does it mean to you?
To me, it's an all-inclusive label that I think a lot of us may or may not like. Mm-hmm. Some of us use it randomly. Some of us use it exclusively, intensively. I think it's all-encompassing Latinos worldwide.
Okay.
And I think it's a culture. I think it's a vibe. I think it's a feeling. I think it's your essence of who you are as a human being. If you like tortillas from one culture and your tortillas are from Spain are different, but it's all the same. Okay. Latinx also can be a generational thing as well. Okay. That's what it means to me.
All righty. Thank you so much, Sabrina. Sandra, what about you, dear?
Yeah. Honestly, I've never really put much thought about it because it doesn't really. It doesn't really bother me. I know I have a lot of friends who are bothered with the term. I identify myself more as like just Latina, but also if I'm referred to as Latinx, I'm okay with it. You know, to me, just really means the same. Everything she said, it just means like we're Latino, plain and simple. That's all it means to me.
What about you, Quintel?
I'll be very honest. This is my first time hearing that phrase.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
And I'm gonna roll with you. Roll. Go ahead.
Yeah, totally learning from what they said about it. And just based on what you said, I mean, given that I've never heard of it, I think if someone would have said, "Oh, you're part of the Latinx community" or something, I would have totally praised it and be like, "Hell yeah, I am!" Right? I was like, "I am." Don't be fooled by the name. But I think what they said, being Latina or being Hispanic, it just encompasses so many things, and I think it's interesting to learn about the culture. I'm Mexican Ecuadorian, and so people are like, how did that happen? How'd that mixture happen? And they're totally different. Like, my parents are very, very different as far as culture, but both Hispanic and Latin. Okay. And so I think it's a beautiful thing. It's what you identify with as a community. So that's what I would say.
If I may, I do realize that it was created to be more inclusive to just different groups, and I'm okay with it because I support LGBTQ. I support just all minorities, different groups. So I'm okay with it. Like I said, I probably wouldn't just call myself, oh, I'm Latinx, but it does feel like you're saying generational, like it's more of a Gen X thing. And I'm really surprised that you had never heard of it, being Latina. So this is kind of cool. It's kind of cool to be like, what?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great. It's great to learn what it means to other people too.
Right. Well, I brought that up because when I sent out today, when I began to send out the ads to different people, to my girlfriends, two people in particular, I'm just going to lay it out there. One of my girlfriends, Shelly, who's texting us right now, she's watching us right now, and my daughter, my baby girl, when I sent them out the ad, they wrote me back and said, yay, happy Latinx Day. And then both of them separately, I was like, oh shit, did I screw up? I said Latina Ladies Night, and I'm like, did I screw up? Should I have said?
You didn't.
You're fine. You're good.
Then I kind of panicked a little bit, and I'm like, oh, I was gonna call Lord Rocka, and I'm like, no, I'm not gonna call Lord Rocka. And then I was like, no, we good. You good, Jackie. You good.
You're good. See, that's what I don't want the word.
But see, I didn't know.
I don't want the word. I don't. Yeah, that's the only thing I don't, I guess, like about the word. That I don't want people to feel they're wrong when they don't use it. I feel people, we should just use what we want to use, and yeah, you're okay.
We're confused too as Latinos.
Yeah, we're kind of like, wait, why are we using this term? But then I'm like, okay, I get it, but then yeah, so don't feel bad.
I just thought I'm just saying, I felt like it maybe is something a little more militant with the X. You see what I'm saying? With Malcolm X, just the whole concept of X with the Nation of Islam and Islam in and of itself. So then that's when I just kind of felt a little powerful with it. Like,
that's more of the Generation X.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what they identify with.
Okay, well maybe that's why. But Shelly, Shelly's my age. So, but my daughter Miko, she's usually my hardest critic. She usually is.
How old is your daughter?
She is 26.
Okay.
25. 25. She's almost on 26. And so she's always on me, right? So I was like, oh shucks, maybe I missed it. Dang, I should have asked her first,
Or the younger generation. I have a 19-year-old, and I feel they are more woke than maybe like our generation. They're just more sensitive to like everyone,
to
which
labels.
Is nice.
Yeah, it's a label thing.
Which is cool because then we can learn from them.
Right. Yep. What do you think about labeling when you say that? You know what I mean?
I'm so over it. Look, we're just all humans. We all have 2 feet, 2 arms.
Yeah.
Some of us not. Some of us don't.
Yeah.
But we all originated from that format.
Right, for sure.
So, I mean, we're all the same people.
Right.
I can't do labels anymore. I've been labeled all my life because people can't figure me out, because I am also a diversified culture ethnically, and I can't just be Latino or Middle Eastern, or I just can't be one thing. I'm just me. Like, I just want to be Cher with one name.
love it.
Yeah.
What would you choose, right? You would just Sabrina.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I feel a lot of these labels sometimes separate and divide us more. But like even, I was talking to a friend over the weekend about it, and she actually does embrace the labels, and she's like, well, why can't I embrace my own label? And I was like, okay, yeah, you bring a good point. So I see both, but then I also have heard of, like, for example, you don't speak Spanish, and there's
Un poquito.
and so like there is judgment sometimes from our Latino community to Latinas that don't, and and that's not okay. We need to just
And then
embrace
having
everybody,
to explain
like
it, like you just saw us right now, like me having to feel like I needed to prove I speak a little bit, but I also grew up in a household where my mother was absolutely told, do not speak Spanish.
Really?
So it is such a big deal conversation that I don't even think we have enough time.
Sabrina, Kate, do you mind sharing, if you don't mind, a tad bit about why that happened with your mom? Why was she not allowed to do so?
Well, it was
Culturally?
segregation. It was also
Thank you.
there was so many discriminatory things that were happening to Mexicans, Mexican Americans. It's one thing to be from Mexico. It's another thing to be Mexican American, born here. It's
Okay.
first generation. And that's where the great divide back in the day, where also other cultures were also having the same discriminatory practices against. Racism was big, and it still continued. My maiden name is Hernandez.
Okay.
I don't use it. I couldn't use it in the film business when I started in. Yeah, that's a whole other story. That's a backstory.
That's why we're here today. You know what I'm saying? We're chopping it up. We're going to take the beef and put it all on the table.
Yeah.
Quintel, what about you?
I think my mindset is more along the lines of where you have labels, and I just kind of get curious about it. Like, okay, why did they say that? Like, I find it interesting when someone shares their perspective of me with me, and I'm like, why would they say that? Like, what is it about me that makes them understand that? And then I try to understand, well, what does that mean to you, right? Because maybe we have different opinions, different perspectives on it. I don't take any offense to it. I'm just like, maybe I am, right? So I'm just like, I just saw Dave Chappelle's skit, and he talked about how he kept being called a feminist.
Right.
And then he kept denying. It's like, there's no way. Why would I, And then he looked it up and kind of concluded what a feminist means, and decided he is a feminist.
Right.
And I'm like, so maybe I am a little bit. It's just the way you take it. But I try to, empathize with people and just be like, what do they mean? What does that even mean? Just get curious about it. But not offensive. I think I used to get offended because my name... And nobody knew what Ecuador was, or like, what is that? I'm like, it's in the middle of the world, like somewhere in the middle there. I have family out there, but
Have you been?
I have a couple times. Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, the food. I'm a foodie, so my grandmother owned a restaurant, and we all just ate, breaking bread with everybody, getting to know each other, because I didn't know that part of the family. And it's interesting, their dialect, the way they communicate, certain words, but. As far as labels, I kind of let them slide down my back and decide for myself.
Exactly. I like that. I appreciate that, Angel. See, we're doing some recording too, guys. I really appreciate you being patient with me tonight.
All good.
Sandra, I was going to ask you, with your career, let's get into it. Let's just get into it. I'm going to start reading some bios. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get into it in the Poetry of Justice show. Jackie Ray Phillips on yikesradio.com. So, all righty. We've got some bio information here for the lovely and talented Sandra E Verona is a LA-based producer with over 15 years of experience as producer, UPM, and line producer. She has worked for some of the most organized MCNs, including Maker, Disney, Pop Sugar, and Me Too.
Me too.
Me too. Sandra has also worked for TV networks such as Revolt TV and Heartland Productions. Over the years, Verona has produced 2 features, a variety of short films, music videos, web series pilots, and digital commercials from prominent clients. Her latest feature film, Shine, S-H-I-N-E, won the Best Picture at Urban World Film Festival. This is amazing. Congratulations. The film was released theoretically in over 600 theaters across the nation. Wow. most recently, Sandra was the agency producer for an OOH campaign for 19 Crimes and Snoop Dogg. Woo woo! In addition, Sandra is the founder director of Film Gals, a woman-led organization that focuses on uplifting women cinematographers. Yes, ma'am. Her personal mission is to hire POC, LGBTQ, and all women in non-traditional roles. That is more than a mouthful, Sandra. Praise goodness for you and all of your amazing talents. Thank you so much. So, in layman terms, break some of that down for us here tonight, and then we're going to dig into it as well.
What part?
The essence of you. If someone, me, I'm asking.
Okay.
The essence of you, Sandra. Mm-hmm. Give me 3.
Okay.
If you can.
So I like to consider myself a creator. I like to create not just opportunities for other women, other people of color, but I like to create content. I like to tell stories. I've been producing for about 15 years. I recently started writing, probably a couple months before the pandemic. And so the pandemic has really allowed me to be home and be able to learn this new craft and to start writing. And that's what I plan to do moving forward, to tell my own stories by writing them and directing them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Writing. How do you settle with your thoughts and when it comes to you? How does that work for you in terms of your thoughts and ideas? You know what I mean? That creative side of you.
For the writing?
Yes.
That's interesting. So I think that it just, I don't know if other writers experience the same thing, but for me, it just comes randomly. Like, I could just be at a panel or watching TV or just showering.
Right.
I get some ideas while I'm in the shower, so I just get random ideas, and then I'm like, And then next time I'm at my desk, then I just start to execute. And normally it's not like, I get it all out at once. It's a progression of like a couple of weeks, maybe a month, and then I'm like, okay, I'm positive because this idea keeps coming back. And then I go and put in paper, and then of course it's a process. It's of like, okay, the first draft, and then a couple weeks go by, I look at it again, and I'm like, that's kind of awful. Let me add to it, let me fix it. And so it's a work in progress all the time, but I'm really enjoying it.
Now, when you just stated, because I'm going to get more footage of you, work in progress all the time, because of that reality, right? As a creator, if you can tell us, do you know when it's just right, when it's settled, when you know, like, this is it, this is the money ticket, this is it?
I would say after reviewing it at least 10, 15, 20 times, but also before that and in between all those revisions, I send it out to filmmaker friends like Sabrina, like other filmmakers that I trust, and get feedback, because I think that's really important for us to get feedback, to get notes and make it better, so we don't go out and just create content that we think is ready and it might not be.
Right.
So I like to take in notes from other filmmakers to ensure that it's the best that it can be.
I like that. That is so amazing. Because sometimes you just know. It's like sometimes when you do another take and then another take and then another take, and you're like, well, how do you know? I mean, sometimes you just know. You just feel it in your spirit. You're like, this is it. I did it. I'm amazing. No, I'm just teasing.
Or sometimes you're on a timeline, a time crunch. So
yes, that's true. That is so true.
Do you feel like it's your best work when you're on a timeline?
With producing, yes. With writing, I would say no. Yeah.
When did you know that this was one of your talents, that entertainment? When did you know that this was for your career
entertainment
path?
in general?
Absolutely.
Ooh, since I was a child, I used to go to the yard sales with my parents and want to buy the electronics, like the VHS cameras. And then even in junior high, I kind of fought the school administration to get myself into a media class. It wasn't in my schedule, and I was like, well, what? I want to be in there videotaping and editing in the old system. And before digital, this was in junior high. So it was always in me. And so I did that, got myself in the class, and did a video yearbook along with my classmates. And then in college, I went to film school.
And where did you attend your college? Where'd you go?
What's that?
Where'd you go to school?
LACC.
Awesome.
So I did both. I did LACC and I did the Art Institute of Santa Monica.
That is awesome. My goodness. I'm going to go back here, ladies, and if you can just bear with me. There's that Lord Rocker right there. So I'm going to my Lord Rocker email because I want to tell you all a story about this lady, a gal by the name of Quintel Cervantes. Let's get this bio going, guys. Gotta get my eyeballs right here, ladies. Ha ha ha. The Quintel Cervantes. She says, "My name is Quintel Cervantes, and I have been in the sales industry my entire adult life. I come from a hardworking family from an Ecuadorian and Mexican descent. I was 12 years old when I first took my first sales job. Oh my God, I had no idea what I was about to get into, but I was excited to make me some money. Within the first week, I outsold all the 10-year sales reps in purses, luggage, and backpacks. I didn't even know it then, but sales was such a natural thing to me. I just love helping people. So I used the emotion to help me make sales, right? So when you help others in the process of selling, it is no longer a transaction, rather a life changed one person at a time. I got into finance industry 6 years ago. I lost my uncle at the time to a sudden heart attack. I know what that's like. He left 5 kids and a wife behind. The day of his funeral, I saw the damage that was caused to his and my entire family due to the lack of knowledge on money. I know for a fact that if my uncle had known how to prepare for the unexpected, he would have done right by his family. It made me think of my own parents and how unprepared one could be without any intention to do so. The fact is, death caused a massive separation in our very tight-knit family. I accidentally stumbled upon World Financial Group, a network marketing company, simply for the knowledge. I wanted to learn so that I can set myself up properly along with my family. But little did I know how this company was getting ready to change my entire perspective in life. I was at it since I was 12 years old. You better believe I was ready. I began taking classes on finances and started the process of obtaining my license. Once I made first check, I never looked back. I quit my job in 4 months and went full-time in my business. In the process, it has been a whimsical pleasure helping others in massive ways. Teaching, oh my goodness, it's going right here, guys. Teaching others about money changes the entire course of all of life's decisions. My children's children will be ready for life. That is my goal. I sit with families, business owners, and individuals and discuss their financial goals. Everyone stands on an individualistic standpoint, so each plan is customized to their goals and personal aspirations. If money rules everything around me, cash me money, dollar bill, it is my job to ensure you are well versed on that matter. Money talks, and we were fluent in that language. That's right, I'm talking about. Today, I stand as a businesswoman, a mother of 3 beautiful girls, and most importantly, a student of life. Wow, Quintel. So you just knew I'm going to just go out here and get this bread. You just knew to get the money.
Yes.
So let's talk about it. Let's
Yes.
talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Somehow I just knew. I don't know how I knew. I was 12. I had a friend.
Generational wealth. I just want us to put that out there because that's
Generational
what you
It's a
said,
thing.
right?
Yes. It's
I'm
a
sorry.
thing. It's okay. No.
Go ahead.
I was 12 years old when I got started. A friend of mine just came up to me randomly and said, "My sister's looking for someone. You want to come work with me on the weekends?" So I was like, "Absolutely, let's do this." And didn't know what my parents were going to say, but my mom has been working her whole life as well. She's like, "Just do it. Go for it. If you like it, keep going. Your grades can fall back, but stay focused." And so I went in not knowing. I was given instructions, and so I said, "All right, let's follow the instructions." That's one thing I've learned through my career, that I'm a pretty good student. I know how to follow directions. I'm like, all right, I would try to give 100% of me. And so once that happened with my uncle, moving forward, once it happened with my uncle, I thought, how is it that we were left behind? How is it that we don't know about money or what to do with our money? How do other people do it?
Right.
And someone invited me to almost like an overview presentation. And it was kind of funny because I showed up. I drove like an hour's ways to get there, and there was an empty office. And I'm thinking, like, what's happening? You know, is this real? Is this legit? And so I had to use the restroom. And so I went, came out, and saw a group of women out there. And I immediately started to apologize and said, look, I'm so sorry I'm invading your space, but I have an interview today. They're like, don't worry. And I started helping set up for an event that they were having. I don't think they knew that I was like a guest or new to the environment, so everybody was just being themselves. And I got to kind of see the back scene. I love seeing the back scene of things. And eventually I was like, hey, so, you know, I have an interview. I don't know who's going to interview me. And they're like, oh my God. And they're like, we thought you were one of us. I'm like, I kind of want to be, right? They were of great energy. Yeah, they were of great energy. And so once that took place, I saw the event. I fell in love with the education part of things and kind of just ran with it. And within 4 months, I was like, we're out of here. Because I have 3 girls. So
that's right.
I just want to be flexible in that space of if there's something that comes up, they're sick, what just happened last year, you know, nothing gets interrupted. And so somehow, some way, God just knew that was just keep going.
That is beautiful. I love that. Oh, my golly. That is a lot. You know what I mean? Jeez, McGeesh.
It was a lot, but I enjoy it. I mean, you sit down and get real personal with clients, and so you never really know what you're going to get.
So if someone wants to be involved in your organization or need you for services, what's the best way for someone to get in touch with you, Quintel?
So I have a phone number.
Go ahead and share your handles with us if you don't mind.
So phone number is 818-485-7469. You can text me, call me. I also have Instagram, which is Miss Quintel. It's on Instagram, and it's very it's personal. It's not. I don't know what we're going to expect. It's just a matter of getting to know each other, getting informed, and then making a decision from there. And so a lot of the times I build relationships and we just start talking because, you know, talking about money can be a little uncomfortable. Typically doesn't happen on the first run. It's, you know, a couple encounters and conversations, and then eventually people start to make decisions.
So like financial planning, things of that regard, estate building, trust, those types of things.
All that.
What about Bitcoin?
Bitcoin, I'm familiar with it. It's not part of the platform, but I'm familiar with it. I worked with a company where we would develop training systems and online systems so that, you know, the training can continue, especially when we went through. And it was based on that. It was that kind of business. So I learned a lot about it. I dabbled in it a little bit. I think it's great if you kind of submerge into it. I think there's money to be made, knowledge to be learned. So it's really good.
You remember that little rocker? We had somebody here that was talking to us about it. I was like, wow, remember Rashid? I know, it's intense.
I live in Valencia, and there's ATMs for Bitcoin out there. Yeah, it's kind of wild.
I've seen some at the mall as well.
Yeah.
Get on my Bitcoin. Sabrina Ortel is a multi-faceted producer focused on development of indie feature films. She began her 20-year career in film business as a production office receptionist for a local cable channel in Santa Barbara. Quickly, she realized that she wanted to be involved in the creative and business side of things, so she turned her attention to Los Angeles to gain physical production experience. She worked in almost every department to learn the business and worked her way up through the ranks to office production assistant, production secretary, production coordinator, unit production manager, production supervisor, line producer, and finally, full-on producer. She started a production company called Blue Chair Productions based out of Santa Barbara. It was during her time commuting back and forth from Santa Barbara to Los Angeles that she experienced a commercial production boom, and having made advertising agency connections in Los Angeles, she was able to bring many commercials to shoot in Santa Barbara, the beautiful wine country. She created branded content for national commercial spots for the automotive industry, produced network promos for NBC Universal, VH1, CBS, and various other channels. During the 90s, she made her way into music videos and has worked for various labels such as Warner Brothers Records, EMI, Polygram, and CBS Records. She is an advocate and champion for women in film with an emphasis on diversity, and has executive produced for 2 years a time-based short film festival open to all levels of filmmaking. She has gone on to mentor and produce student filmmakers from USC, UCS, UCLA, UCSB, AFI, and the Art Center. She is currently based in Los Angeles, California, and tonight we're blessed to have her here with the Poetry of Justice show with Jackie Ray. Mike, produce, create. So let's talk about that, if you don't mind, beautiful lady.
Indeed.
Let's get you.
You know, I think a lot of us have stories. We all have our family stories. We have our individual stories. We have stories.
Yes.
We're made natural-born storytellers. We don't often get the opportunity to express a story visually, even in any creative arts way. And I think for me early on it was doing stage plays and things with my brother and my Barbies and trying to manipulate stories out of that from what I would see on TV, right? So I would manipulate those stories and they would come out, and I loved it. That whole fantasy world of taking me out of what is to what could be.
Yes.
The idea of something bigger than what my actual moment was really intriguing for me. I got hooked on commercials with my dad.
You did?
I mean, it was just such a thing. I would cry when he would turn the TV to football game or whatever. I'd be like, no, I want to watch. To me, it was just this little idea of a story in like 20 seconds. Boom, 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 done.
Right.
And something about my brain, how my brain works, that was a challenge.
Yes.
And so I always thought, okay, I'm going to try that with my Barbies. I'm going to try that with my friends. And I would make all our neighborhood friends, come on, let's do these commercials. And it was crazy. It was, when I think about it now, like, that's just weird. I think it was weird. But it was something that was inside of me.
Yes.
And I'm really fortunate to be able to be stubborn. I say that because that's what kept me going in this business and kept me going the next level, and being curious.
Right.
Naturally curious about life and things and people and places and what is that? What do you got going on there? How does that work? Show me how that works. And oh, that's cool. I think that just was natural. And I didn't know, no one in my family, our filmmakers, we're all storytellers. Right? I think in Mexican culture, Latino culture, we're storytellers naturally. And I think that actually combined with my drive, combined with seeing my dad hustle, it just was the 70s, the 80s. It was that whole time of anything is possible.
Right.
We didn't have all the emotional freakouts like Gen X people do. Sorry. But it's true, though, right? I mean, it was different.
Yes, for sure.
So for me, it was really a no-brainer. Just keep going, tell the stories. And then when I finally found the world of film, it was like a click, click, that you're home. I didn't know how to get to it. I didn't know how to enter in. No one I knew was in film. Although a couple of people from my high school, we actually now have crossed paths.
Really?
But, you don't know that back then. So it just was something. Then, my life from 12 to about 20 was way different than most people. And it was something that I'm grateful I went through for the life lessons and things I got out of it. And it's helped in my producing to be able to lean on those hard times and go, well, I made that. That's nothing.
Right.
Producing film work is really a beautiful environment. It's a very hard environment, but it's not rocket science. It's not hard. And it shouldn't be laborious, and it shouldn't be 18 hours a day for $10 an hour. I'm not saying that I've ever done that. But,
it doesn't have to be that.
No, it doesn't have to be any of that. So it was just a natural fit for me to want to learn the business of producing, because I had no idea what that was.
Right.
That's why I went through all these different
Your very
positions.
first thing that you produced, what was that? And tell
Oh
us
my
how
gosh.
that worked for you.
It was a Timex commercial for the watch. Remember the Indiglo watches?
Oh my goodness.
That they had the blue face?
Yes, I do.
So I was doing PA work. I didn't even know what PA work. I just knew I was getting stuff for a ton of people all the time. And I was always tired at the end of 12 hours. So I had a phone call. Backstage, I think I had the magazine. I had applied for a job. I didn't know what I applied for, to be honest. I just applied. I'm just applying for everything. And this young guy, he said, I'm doing a spec commercial. Within the week that I had answered that, he had already sold the concept to Timex and their agency. So here's me. I got hired on as art director. What the hell? I had no clue what I was doing. Luckily, I'd ask questions. And, you know, I knew that if I were to ask and to read and find out and just do it, show up, something would get done, right?
Definitely.
And I had no idea that we were building a forest on a soundstage. I had no clue how that was.
Oh my
I mean,
God.
think about it. How do you create a forest on a
On a
soundstage?
soundstage.
If you don't know, you don't know. So back then we had this thing called the LA 411. It was a big
Okay.
fat book, like
Yeah,
a guide.
yeah.
And you would go
The phone
through
book.
it and you'd find every vendor. So I looked under nurseries, you know. I called Green Set. Thank you, Green Set. And they said, come over, we'll help you out. And they literally helped me create the environment. There were fake leaves.
Wow.
There were trees that go like a Christmas tree, like a fake tree, how you
Yeah,
put together.
right.
That's how you make these fake trees.
Oh my, okay.
I had no clue. It was amazing. It was fun. I learned so much. It was a
Watching
blast.
it come to life, huh?
It was the best.
Oh my
yeah,
goodness,
it was
I know.
great. I was hooked ever since. Yeah.
That is so awesome. Yeah, I know, right? Right when you just know that you're walking in your calling. That's what I was just going to ask. What do you think of the term "fake it till you make it"? Have any of the ladies on the panel tonight? Have you ever? Quintel, what are you thinking right now when you hear that? Fake it till you make it.
I think it's like how she said, Serena said, show up.
Right.
You know, and you're not always going to, actually, very little percent of the time are you going to feel like doing it. And so that's how I interpret the saying, fake it till you make it. Show up, be excited. Everybody wants to follow someone who's excited, even if they're not the leader. But whoever's the most excited in the room, people want to be, you know,
part
in that
of
in
it.
space.
Yeah.
And so I know I'm like that. And I think 95% of the population is, right? So understanding human nature in that aspect. But I think it's important. You know, I have 3 girls, and I talk to them about that all the time. Like, you got to get up. You got to smile. I promise you, when she smiles, it's going to get you in a
feel
different
better.
mood. Or let's dance or something. But, you know, I'm not always at my best.
Right.
And so that's why I had asked earlier as well in regards to, do you feel like you produced your best work under pressure? For me, it's that way, where there's a lot of pressure, adversity's coming down, because it happens, it's seasons, and you just don't know when it's going to happen.
That's so true.
And that's when you just gotta, okay, remember that time where you felt real good? Let's go fake it till we make it.
Yeah. You got to pull back on that. Kind of pull on that resource energy on the inside.
Absolutely.
What about you, Sandra?
Me? Okay. I don't like the term. I don't
Okay,
like
okay.
it.
Amen. I don't either.
Okay.
It sounds to me like that word to me sounds like it's like pre-planned, that you're gonna fake your way into things. So that's the reason why I don't like it. However, I'm not gonna lie and say that I've always known it all, right? Because I haven't. But I just don't like the term. I think it gives a false sense of like what we should be doing. However, again, I do believe that if you are caught in a situation and you don't know how to do something, you figure it out, you know.
Right.
But I do believe in like just being transparent and honest
Right.
about what you don't know,
Right.
so then whoever you're there with can maybe guide you, you know. And yes, other people may see like, oh, you faked X and Y to make it, but again, I don't like to see it that way, and I like to be prepared as much as I can, even if I go into something not knowing how to do it. I want to prepare, do some research, like
Right.
you know, do some of that. And on that note, my very first project that I produced, I really didn't know what I was doing. It was a music video, and it was like super long. Oh my god, it was like 20 hours plus, because I didn't know about scheduling. I didn't know about
Oh my gosh.
like not scheduling like 3 locations in Whittier, 1 in Hollywood, and 1 like all these different locations, and I didn't know. However, I never, like, to the team that I had, that I brought on board, I never said like, oh, I'm a pro, I've done this. Like, I was just like, hey, can you help me? Can you be a part of this shoot? So I never like lied about what my credits were, but I figured it out by doing it, and that video made me really was honestly my film school. That 1 20-hour day was like all I needed to know what not to do on the next shoots, and then you just learn from every set, right? Like every set's so different. So there's always, and even now I'm still always learning, and I try to keep like kind of I'm writing actually a book called Producing 101 to kind of write all these things that I've learned so other people can like not make the same mistakes. Yeah.
Wow. I'm just going to grab, ladies, so just bear with me. I'm going to just grab our YouTube.
Yeah.
But we're just going to keep going. I just want to go grab our YouTube so I can disseminate it while we're talking, ladies, so that everybody can still watch us live. So just forgive me on that one just a little bit. I was just going to ask you, if you don't mind, Sabrina, just talking about why you say your position on Fake It Till You Make It.
Same as Sandy. Same thing. I mean, in this film business especially, we cannot fake it. You will be found out so quickly. And it's a bad look. It costs a lot of time, a lot of money when you do fake it and you're caught. So no good in that. Being transparent is probably one of the most hallmark signs of a good filmmaker and actually a good creative person, to say, listen, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to give it my 100%, and then I also will be able to ask questions or bring in people that don't know above me. For me, because I come from a commercial producing background, now as I feature film develop, I am the first person that will say, listen, I've not produced a feature film, but I have been for hire, I've done packaging, I've done development work, I've done budgeting. So while I haven't produced a feature film, I've done the business of producing a feature film. And I'll bring in the people that actually have on-set scheduling, producing experience to navigate that. So, and exactly. And so that whole term, fake it till you make it, is just, it just like gets you right here, like, I'm not trying to be fake.
Right.
Just give me the opportunity. I'll tell you I don't know, but I'm not going to leave you hanging.
Right.
You know, because time is money.
Yes,
and we don't have time. We have zero time. So why am I going to fake it?
Right.
Anyway, that's just how I fake that way.
Lord Rocca, what do you think about it? I would like to know your opinion. You are an entertainer, sir. You can just chime in.
Well, I think my perspective just changed of the answer that they just gave, because I thought it was a good thing just until you get yourself in the door. But yeah, just like Sabrina and Sandy were saying, like it once you're caught, it's over. You know what I'm saying? So it's better to just be honest. It'll save people time and energy. So yeah, thank you for changing my perspective on fake it till you make it. Yeah.
Well, you know what, ladies, I got something to say. We're going to do right now. Remember I said we were going to take a little bit of a cool down moment, but I just figured since we had Lord Rocca on the mic just now, I think now is a good time for us to actually get Lord Rocca on the mic. Okay. So Lord Rocca,
there we go.
Yesterday, right, was the release. It was Friday. Last Friday? You have to tell us what you do.
Yeah.
No, it was yesterday.
Yeah.
What happened yesterday?
Your
Contacts.
drop near me.
Contacts.
Contacts.
Yes.
No, she's talking about something else. I knew that was what was going on. So Contacts dropped yesterday. Contacts is a web series by King Batch. He put it together. Sandy put me on that project as a casting director. That's our Star and Crescent casting. Kind of blew up.
Yay!
So once we got on that project, everything turned around. So that dropped Friday as well. So everyone go please watch that on Facebook. Watch and follow at King Batch as well. So that's awesome. So that's how I met Sandy through that project. Sandy through that project. So yeah, so that dropped. And then you're talking about Near Me. So I do these freestyle Fridays every Friday where I come up with these mini music videos. And it featured me, but you as well. I'll put you in the music video. I got my man Rashid in the music video. So yeah, that was amazing. That drops every Friday. So that came out. So I don't know if we're gonna play it now.
Sure.
But we'll air it for the first time for our listeners. Lil Rocca Near Me. So yeah, maybe we could also watch maybe like a minute clip of Contacts. We could pull that up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What you want to do first? Whatever order you take. You call.
I think Near Me is easier. because we already have access to it, and then we'll do contacts.
You got it. Sounds
Great.
good.
Thank you.
Poetry of Justice Show.
And sometimes you don't hear me, but you don't have to be near me, near me. You don't have to hear me.
Yeah.
You don't have to hear me, hear me. You don't have to hear me, hear me.
Produced by Jerron Hinton,
Hear me, hear me. You don't
Lil
have to
Rocker,
hear me, hear me.
South Central.
Hear me,
Yeah, so official. Yeah, Lord Rocker in the house tonight. We get the blessing in. Never need an end is to get this elegant. All the pretty women that's belling in with melanin, love to get it in. We came to win. On with the handsome Don. Let's get it done. We did it, y'all. Let's hear it, y'all. Hop on Carter car. We walked on the boulevard. We pissed. We ain't get it this lit when KB lived.
you don't have to be near me, hear me. You don't have to hear me, hear me.
Yeah.
You don't have to hear me, hear me.
Still we get it on.
Hear me, hear me. You don't have to be near
Still we go strong.
me. You don't have to hear me, hear me.
Still we get it on.
Hear me, hear me. You don't
Yeah.
have to hear me.
We go strong. South Central's favorite baby, I'm here now. Ripping for a living and keeping them tickets hot in the musket. Mama never thought that I had access to muskets. Blasting for the accent, we was wildin' and dump sick. Books from Elijah, fell in love with the knowledge quick. Still love a woman with street smarts and lusciousness. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere with no one
You don't
there.
have to be near me,
Yeah,
you don't have to hear me, hear me.
still we get it on.
Hear me, hear me. You don't have to hear me, hear me. You don't
Still we
have
go
to
strong.
hear me, hear me. You don't have to
Salam Nation.
hear me. You don't have to hear me, hear me. You don't have to hear me.
Mother plane around the nation. Yeah, made it through the raid and the shooting, and now I'm parachuting, swishing and showing the shoe game stupid. Keep family out of business, what I learned from Lucas. I just want my own, I just want my credit and my son with a home. Lord Rocker put you on, brought you on some women in business, so let's be honest that you probably would've never ever got on your own. Never near, but I'm thinking about you, never forget you. Real.
To know that I'm singing, this is my song,
Exit plan,
and nothing
produced by Jerron Hinton.
can make it.
I'm doing
That's
everything.
amazing. Look at that.
Oh man, I wear so many hats. I don't
Isn't that
know.
awesome? Did you like that? I love
Wow,
that. I love
that was so rad.
Thank you, I appreciate it. So yeah,
the sound effects.
I started off as an artist, and then I jumped into casting, and then I jumped into radio. So I'm working those three fields right now. But yeah, that's what we're doing. So we're jumped to Facebook right now, and show us a minute clip of contact. Is that Facebook?
Awesome.
Right
It's
there?
on Facebook.
It is. Okay.
That is so cool.
That's an
Lil
earworm
Rocker.
of a song.
Right?
Yeah, I'm not gonna forget it.
King Bass.
It has a nice hook.
It so does.
Yeah.
I love that a lot. I like that. Oh my goodness. Yikes. So what films are you working on right now, Sabrina? You working on anything?
Some really cool things that I can't say.
Yikes. That
I
means it's
know.
really
I'm-
top
I'm
secret.
so dying to say. It's a sports thing
Uh-oh.
with a Latino focus.
Football player?
Ish, yeah,
Ish.
kind of thing. Yeah,
I can't wait. I'm going to be like, I knew about it, but I didn't know about it. I can just feel it.
right?
I knew about it.
Like I'm the worst person.
But she
with
couldn't tell us,
secrets.
but that's what I knew she was talking about, that she couldn't tell us. That's the one.
We can do charades. No.
Yeah, I was thinking
So,
about it.
funny story about this contacts that he's gonna play. I produced it with King Badge, and it was our first project that me and her worked together. I brought her on to do locations and AP, and yeah, so this is how we all met.
It was
So we
great.
all met, right.
It was really great experience. It was a lot of fun. It was crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we're not gonna talk about the crazy
Yep.
stuff, but I
Yeah.
think all three of us had
We
crazy.
signed non-disclosures, right?
Ah,
Yeah, we
right.
did,
That
right.
part right there.
But yeah, we all were just on like no sleep, but we all did a great job.
It's just like when you love it, you just
You're in
love
it.
it,
You just
right?
love it. You
just
do it.
fall into it, and
You don't care.
Right.
You just don't care.
You just
right?
take a nap and get
Right?
back up.
And you just
Right,
keep going. Don't stop.
I got a little funny story. So
Yeah.
when I forgot how I met Sandra on Facebook, but
We were just Facebook.
we were
friends.
just
I don't know
Facebook friends,
how.
right? And I remember inboxing her like, "Hey, I'm an upcoming casting director. You know, if you're working on anything, let me know. I'm willing to work." And then she goes, "Yeah, when I got something, I'll let you know." But the way I read it like, yeah, whatever. Like, okay, you're a casting director. We'll see. Right? So I was like, man, she's not going to hit me up. Then I see her post that she's working on a project, and I commented on it. I'm like, yo, I'm free if you need any help. And then she hits me. I'm like, yeah, I actually do. I want you to come on. So I was like, yes. Yay. So I started casting, right? Usually when I cast for movies, I come on set. So this is the thing that casting directors really don't come on set. I like to come on set just to make sure that that everybody's doing like the talent's being treated correctly, being fed and things like that, and everybody's cool. If I can help in any way, I'll come. So for the first time, they tell me, no, you can't come on set, and I'm like, dang, okay. So we have I had casted this one lady. And she didn't want to, I guess, put on a mask or something like that. Man, so she knocks all the coffee on the ground and she goes crazy, right? And I get a call from Sandra like, yo, who is this lady you casted? Like, she just went crazy up here. Again, that's why I come on set, because of things like that.
Now I know.
Yeah, right. I'm like, this is bad, because this is my first day on the job. This is the first time me being, casting people and having them come on set.
Yes.
I said, no. I said, let me come on set the next day. I'll promise this won't happen. If somebody goes crazy, I'm going to deal with it.
Right.
They're like, all right, cuz, you can come. I'm like, yo. I'm like, cool. So
and just for the record, it wasn't like we didn't want you to come. It was also just like, it was a new media project with low budget. Mm-hmm. So we just couldn't really, I guess, afford to like your time, because it is a long day.
Yeah.
So we didn't want to have to have you there for free, spending your whole day, and we didn't really have budget to like pay you. But then we made it work.
Right. Exactly.
But it's wonderful to have your casting director on set.
Most definitely, yeah. Especially after that, especially being my first day, I don't want them to be like, oh no, he casts crazy people. We can't work with him no more. So I was like, nah, that's I don't cast crazy people. I don't even know this lady like that. I just thought she'd be a good fit.
And that's not your fault.
Yeah, it wasn't.
But of course, with just any background or any actor, sometimes you don't, even when they actually have good credits, sometimes you don't know how crazy they could be, or
too late.
This woman, I think, for sure had like mental issues. So there's no way that you would have known that.
Alleged.
Right.
No, she definitely did. She definitely did.
So
we had our EP walked her off the property, and to be honest, I was really upset because she didn't just knock off, she swiped the whole
everything
table
on the
of all the
table.
crafty. She was about to throw someone's computer. It was like a big thing.
Yeah.
And I was really upset. I was about to call the police, but being that we were a minority set, then my EP was like, "It's not a good idea," and I was like, "You know what?
Yeah,
you're right." And so we just escorted her out and treated the situation very gently, because we didn't want cops to show up and hurt either of us.
Anything.
With just period in the story.
So I was like, you know what? I'm sorry. I got heated right away, because as a producer, I'm very protective of my team and our gear. But then my EP put a very different perspective, and I was like, you know what? You're right. Let's not call.
Right. That's great.
But after that, Danny was on set every day, and it was great.
Yeah.
You had great people.
Yeah, we did. Thank you so much for the opportunity too. So that's how we're here now. So we want to play a clip of Context, and we'll go from there.
Hit him. Hit him again. Okay, now pick his head up and hit him again. There we go. Now take the bag off his head. Okay, untie him. Come on.
Calm down before you stress up the groove. It's not about that. Us as a crew, hey, who you talking to? Just know I ain't no regular fool. Could be
Yeah, so please go watch that on Facebook. Watch. It's amazing.
Okay, and that's KONTAXT.
Yes.
Awesome, and that's
Absolutely.
on Facebook. Facebook Watch until that dropped on Friday.
Yes. I don't know if they're I don't know how they're dropping it. If it's an episode every week or, but
I don't know.
yeah, but I know the
I think
first
that
episode.
they might all be up there already.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it's up there.
That's right.
Mhm.
There you
That was
go.
fun.
Right.
Yeah, that was definitely fun.
That sounds like awesome time. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think maybe we should do. I don't know. I think we're just gonna go on into it. I've got some Lord Rocka. I was gonna ask. I'm sorry, I'm tripping. Rashid, if you can maybe give us a little bit of, maybe a little Motown music for us.
There we go.
Little Tina.
It is Saturday night.
Yeah, Saturday
Just
night.
saying.
Saturday Night Live. And I was just going to tell you ladies, I'm excited to be able to share something with you ladies today and be able to share something with our listeners and share. I'm just going to get us our little mood music. And you ladies having a good time tonight?
All good.
I know.
A lot.
I'm learning so much about film and producing and money.
Yeah, I want to know
Right?
more about what you do.
I was just about to say, we want to know.
No, but-
Look, you
We want to know how to make the money
Exactly.
to make
To do more
movies.
films.
Yes.
Make money. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So what I wanted to do right now, I don't even know how to do this, but I'm just going to do this. So check this out. I got some exciting information that I want to share. So your girl, Jackie Ray Phillips here, has going to be joining, what do we call this? The Ozone Gold LLC radio family. This is in addition to the blessings that we have at Accelerated Radio and YikesRadio.com. So that if we
That's awesome.
So we made that official this week, and that I want to give a shout out to the CEO of that particular establishment. Her name is Mrs. Heaven Gilmore, and we were blessed to have Ms. Gilmore here as a guest. How the backstory to all of this is: in June of this year, the Poetry of Justice show was on location. And what we did is there was a concert in Bellflower at the French Quarters. And the concert featured the Mary Jane Girls, a group titled The Next Level Temptation, and the magnificent, legendary funk band Ozone. Now, Ozone, if you may remember, was the band that did some music with Tina Marie, one of the original Motown groups, Gigolette, where Tina Marie is on that particular. Right.
Wow.
So these are these individuals, and so it's Ozone Gold Radio LLC, and so she sought us out, and she likes what's happening here on the Poetry of Justice show, but need me over there, so I'm going to go over there and be looking at maybe about adding 3 nights. So your girl may be on like a Tuesday night, a Wednesday night, and a Friday night from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock p.m. A little bit of a different platform. I'm not quite sure of the name of it yet, but maybe like 2 hours around the heavy traffic drive. And so we're going to have some amazing sponsorships going on. So I want you ladies to be ready for that, and to be ready for that, Lord Rock, and all those amazing things that will entail. But one of the biggest things that's going to be happening next month, November 26th, is going to be the Ballers Walk Tour, Ozone Gold Radio. So your girl truly gets to be the hostess on the Gold Carpet Experience. So to be able to interview those individuals in this particular event. So there's going to be so much more to come, so much more information. November 26th and 27th, Tampa, Florida is where we're going to be, ladies and gentlemen. And we're going to be on a nice yacht out there. And so we're going to have some good time expanding here on the Poetry of Justice show.
Love
so
it.
that hard
Love
work
it.
is starting to pay off. So thank you, Lord Jesus. And
Amen.
again, shout out to Mrs. Heaven Gilmore. And you guys want to check out, we are the 365 24/7 on OzoneGoldRadio.com. So check that out from time to time when you get a chance. So just wanted to share that little bit of news. Laura Rocca, we got some good things from Laura Rocca. So there's some big things going on, guys. So more than music, they're looking at bringing up new artist development. So that's where I'm looking at you know what I'm saying, and what we're going to be doing. So our God is an awesome God. So I give him all the glory and all the honor and all the praise, because if it were not for him, I couldn't do it. So I have to give him all the praise. So those who don't like it, I'm sorry. That's just the way it is.
Too bad.
Because I wouldn't be nothing without him.
Yes,
so I just
exactly,
give him all the
100%.
glory. So I'm excited. So you guys just pray for me, and as we all pray for each other as well, and we just gonna keep each other lifted,
That's
right?
beautiful.
Just
That's
keep
right.
that spirit
really
going,
great.
and then to be able to just look the blessings with you, beautiful ladies, and look at all the different collaborations that could come down the pipeline. I'm so super excited. One of the big things that I kind of big time miss Laura Rocker. I miss Lori not being here.
Yeah, I know.
And that's my big sister, and I love her so much,
Aw.
guys. And she's She's amazing, and so I just would love for you guys. You guys are gonna have to meet her because we're gonna have to get you ladies back on another show, and you're gonna get to meet her.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she's a really nice lady, and
Yeah,
so she does some things that I know you ladies are like. She is the associate dean at the School of Dramatic Arts and Theater at the University of Southern California. So she is dedicated.
love to meet her.
I knew you would. I know. So it's just she was in Mexico right now, so we gave her the day off. So she's down there, fun in the sun. Me and Lord Rocker here enslaving me and Lord Rocker. No, this is the best. I have the best life. I swear to God. You know what I mean? It's just a blessing. How you ladies feel about your art and all those amazing things is just. It's just awesome. So thank you so much for being here with us tonight and listening and chiming in. And I just want to know, you ladies have any special requests? Because we're going to keep the train going. We ain't going to let it up yet. But any special requests for music or anything you want to know from me and Rashid?
I'd like to know how you and Lord Rocka met. What?
Oh yeah, that's
you
a
guys
good.
come
That's
together.
Do you remember how we met through?
Do. Yes, I do.
Okay. Because I remember first coming here, for the first time. But go ahead.
My very first, when I got onto Yikes Radio with Kevin, was in 2007. And at that time, I had a young lady working with me named Janelle. Her name is Janelle Mckinney. And she was our very first producer on the show. And Janelle Mckinney saw you on IG.
Really?
And she came to me and she was like, "Oh, Jackie, there's this guy, Lord Rocker." And I remember when I very first heard him, I was like, "Lord Rocker, like, it's a tall name, you know what I'm saying? On the rail, for real, when she talking about,
Right.
okay, shit, all right, Lord Rocker."
Right.
And then sure enough, we got pictures. I still got pictures of that very first, of the show. You did
I did too. I just don't. Was she here? I don't remember who this person is at all.
That's awesome. You can't
I
say
don't know
that.
who this person is.
You got it. There's the fake until you make it.
All right.
We caught you.
I want to say yeah. I know she wasn't in the. I'm gonna say yeah. Maybe she was off that day. Yeah.
She was in
She
Mexico.
was-
Maybe yeah. She was in Lord. And so that's how we met.
Yeah.
That's how we met. And
Yeah.
Lord Rock, I interviewed him. He came on the show as a guest.
Yes.
We were in the first studio, which is the Yikes Studios down the hall. When you ladies go down the hall to the right. And like that very first right that you can't get into, but that's the very Studio B. So that was all Yikes. So when I very first started with Kevin, I was in there, the very first show to air on Yikes Radio.
Wow.
So Kevin allowed me to be dubbed the queen of YikesRadio.com.
Love it.
Yeah. So very first show to air in that little office, and we did our thing. So we was over there with Lord Rocker the very first time, and then after the pandemic. You just still see each other's art and you see their talent and you just see him doing what he's doing, and I guess he's seeing me over here. And then during the pandemic, I reached out to Lord Rocca because we were interviewing, we were doing everything on Zoom at that point, but I saw that Lord Rocca had started dabbling in the film industry a bit. And then Lord Rocca reached out about one of the amazing directors, Brandon Woodron, and we were blessed to be able to interview Brandon Woodron. And then I'm just going to give the rest up to the Lord, because after that, it's just our spirits just continue to just coexist. And then now it's at a point where I can't even imagine doing it without him. You know what I'm saying? So
That's a pure partnership.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just natural. It works itself out, and I'm blessed. That's everything I can say. And the same thing to Rashid.
Right,
Yes.
exactly. So,
Rashid is my other. Rashid keeps my mind right, because
Rashid,
Rashid is the best.
You can tell.
Yeah. So we got like pretty little tight ship we like to run here. You know what I mean? We're family, and we just the biggest thing is the Poetry of Justice show again is where social consciousness meets the arts, and I just my passion is poetry. And again, like I mentioned about my degree being in criminal justice, and we're going to talk about justice tonight. Maybe we'll go around and we'll talk about what that word means to us. That's generally one of the routine questions I ask all of our guests, because it means so many different things for so many different people in so very many different ways. So it's just an opportunity for us to just bring our talents and our thoughts. We have so many different shows that we do. We do shows on battered women syndrome. We do shows on Stockholm syndrome. We do shows on eating disorders. We do shows just on mental health itself. We do shows on recovery from addiction, from codependency to it's therapy. That's what I can tell you. The
and
poetry of
relationships.
justice.
Remember
Oh
that.
my God. I was just gonna
That's the
tell
biggest
you.
one.
His hot topic right now, ladies and gentlemen, are the battle of the sexes. We usually
a
try
good
to get one in like every 6 weeks, something like that.
Yeah,
It's a good
every
one.
month. Actually,
Good topic.
every month we bring like 4 girls and 4 guys, and We had them go at it. Some of them agree, some of them disagree. Yeah, some of them agree, some of them disagree, and it's a great, fun conversation. Yeah, we do that every
We're
night.
just so women and men we're just so wired so differently, and it's just like I feel like once you accept that, just know like you're gonna often disagree, and it's okay as long as it's done respectfully.
Right, exactly.
Just agree to disagree.
Yeah, and me and my boyfriend are still, working on that because I still get really irritated when he doesn't see my point. But then I have to go back to remember, like, okay, he has a different perspective. He comes from a completely different background, and we're all different. And that's how we all have different perspectives.
Right.
That's so true.
Yeah.
It is you just got to just say, you know what?
Well, even amongst women, I think in that species are very different on all topics. I mean, it's just, I totally learned from you today.
Exactly.
As soon as you learn what to do, as soon as you learn what not to do.
I know, right?
Which is big, just as important.
Quintel, I got a question for you. Justice. What does that word mean to you?
You know, when you said it earlier, it made me think of, I don't know if you've heard of Dr. Brene Brown. She studies empathy and shame, and I think that for like the past 2 years, ever since the pandemic, I've tried to learn empathy and just understanding someone, understanding that whatever you're saying has 100% to do with you and very little to do with me. And understanding your point of view and why you feel a certain way and why perhaps what I said was offensive or what I said you disagreed with. I think justice is that giving that space of no judgment, of letting you be exactly who you are as you come, and then just give me the same in return.
Right. Just
I can be a little
reciprocate.
crazy. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Some of the things I say, and I'm aware of it. I'm aware of my crazy. I'm aware of how different I am. I'm aware of I'm aware of how different things can be. And the funny part was I had a friend who was kind of like a coach, like a mentor during the pandemic. And I realized oftentimes in good terms, we were on separate pages. I'm like, wasn't that interesting how like we're not even mad or we didn't get upset. I just realized we're on different pages. So let's communicate a little better. Let's make sure that we're actually saying what we mean and making sure I understand you before I leave the room, right? And so I found it interesting how you're just constantly going to be on different pages with people and having that empathy to like, no judgment. I totally get why you saw it that way, and allowing that person to be who they are. I think it breeds the person to grow. It allows a person to learn. I had learned this thing called bun meet bun. And it was while I was in a leadership position where, because I'm like ready to go in. Like, you made a mistake, I'm ready to come tell you, right? Like, here's where you went wrong.
Going for the jugular.
Yeah. And so, and then now that I'm a mom as well, like you learn, like it's all about how you deliver the message.
Yes.
So the bun meet bun is like, all right, I'm gonna be super gentle and soft, and then I'm gonna like cut you with the truth, and then I'm like be super gentle and soft again. And I want to say that reminds me of justice, of like just allowing that to be, and because who are you to look down on me, right?
Absolutely.
Like,
That's beautiful.
I know, right?
Very beautiful. Yeah,
Taking notes.
Bun meat, I know.
Bun
right?
means bun.
Bun.
All right, I'm gonna remember
What about
that.
Yeah.
Mrs.
meat.
Christina Guevara taught me that. Shout her out.
Because I'm like you, like I just want to, and then I gotta work on like
Make it right.
making it the bun, eating a bun, whatever.
Let's make art out of this.
Make a Big Mac out of this.
Right.
That's too funny.
Justice for you, Sandra.
Justice. I think of equality, equal justice, which is what I think we're constantly fighting for. I think there's still a lot of racism, classism, a lot of those isms, and so when I think of the word, I just think of like community and continuing to fight for equality for despite of color. I think everybody as human beings should have the equal right to justice.
Yes.
And to be, if they're in trouble, whether you're black, white, Asian, whatever, like we all deserve it as human beings.
Absolutely.
So that's what I think about.
All right, Diva.
Interesting. Yeah. Justice to me pisses me off, the word. Because I have this, I think, a different connotation in respect of fairness, telling the truth, being right to people. And that includes the empathy and those things. But it just isn't always fair. And so justice can be a double-edged sword sometimes. It can release things that have been wrong. It can keep you accountable to things that you never even thought should be right, and not ready to deal with that. So it's a big word, and it really is something that we need to really pay attention to when we talk about justice, because justice can be a whole tons of things to different people. But what you and I right here are talking about, we want it to mean something else, right? But in the sense of it should be inclusive. It should be black versus white, but it always isn't. So I have a hard time with that when someone says, well, it's the justice of it all. No, it's right. What's right is right. The truth is the truth. It doesn't, there's no way around it. It's just that. So don't try to come at me with, well, for the justice of, nope. It's just right. It needs to be right, or the truth. And I can hear all the gray. I can deal with gray all day long, and I can hear somebody go through the injustice of it, and I will empathize and I will find a way to help.
Right.
But I think that overall justice is a big word.
Yeah.
Anyway, what I think
love
it means.
that. Thank you so much. Now, speaking of justice, Little Rocket, for the ladies, your opinion on justice.
There we go.
Wow. Kind of don't.
It's been a while.
It's been a while, and after what Sabrina just said, I feel like I have nothing else to say. But justice, equality, that's what comes to me when I hear the word justice, making sure everyone gets their fair share, like Sandra said earlier, we're all humans, and we all bleed and we breathe oxygen, you know what I'm saying? So that's what comes to me, and I think every human on earth deserves that. Yeah.
All right, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of insane that we're, at this century, we're still fighting for it.
Right.
Right.
And we probably will still be fighting for it for a while.
I think if you take charge of yourself, though, where be what you expect of others. So
Right.
the justice, whatever that is in your head,
Right.
show up as that and lead the way of that. I think it's the best way to actually make a change. Because I think about that with my girls. I'm like, man, I wonder where they're going to be when they grow up and the challenges they're going to be faced with.
How old are your girls?
I have a 12, almost 13-year-old, an 8, almost 9-year-old, and a 6-year-old. All girls. I know. It's wild. It's a little ghetto on this side.
I know that's amazingly fun, though.
It is so much fun.
Have each other, sisterhood.
Absolutely,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
I mean, we all, it's kind of wild. And those are the things I talk about. I go, you, amongst each other. I'm like, you have to be it first. I'm like, you're the older one. You got to show up the way I've taught you to show up. Otherwise, the little one's going to run amok. And we're at the letter, right? Because we're not showing up the way we should.
Right.
And I think that. I'm like, oh, man, I got to be first. If I don't change, the environment's not going to change. And that's hard. I mean, it's not an easy thing. It's hard to how do you even do it? Because you're so accustomed to the way you were raised and things like that. And your perspectives are all built on how you were raised. And now you're trying to undo the things that you don't necessarily agree with, right? Before we just agreed, and now you're like, I don't know if I agree with all that.
I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Where did
that rule? Well, let's remove that rule from our rule book.
I agree. Change, if we change within first, things can start to change. But, it's just not everyone. There's a lot of people that, can't even begin to think of that to change within that topic. So
That's real. Before I have a question, and I want to ask them. I kind of asked the women in business that were here last time on the show. But before I asked them that question, I wanted to kind of know what Quintel had to give on finances.
Yeah, absolutely. So you want to talk money?
Yeah, let's talk money.
So money.
Cash rules.
So a lot of what we do is we just learn the concept of money, right? So Albert Einstein talked about it. If you understand interest, you're going to earn it. If you don't understand it, you're going to pay it, which is just like everything else, right?
Wow, that was deep.
Break that
Yeah, that was really deep, right?
That was so simple, yet so powerful.
She started off so powerful. I'm like, whoa.
My new hashtag.
Lack of knowledge, you're going to pay out the you-know-what, basically.
Yes. So understanding. So I realized, I 12 years old, learned how to make money, but nobody ever sat down and taught me, okay, what do you do with it?
Man, you got it, right.
Yeah, what do you do with it? And so my life was all about money's coming in. I know how to make money. Simple, very simple to make money. And then now it's all gone. right? Because I'm just spending it. No one taught me how to actually spend it. I went to
Same, our family, same.
Yeah, I went to school. I had my first daughter when I was 23, and I decided I'm going to stay home with her and I'm going to go to school, not knowing that I was going to school just to, get into debt. And I was like, I don't even know how much into debt. So when I showed up to the company, I remember thinking, like, I'm the perfect client. Like, I totally need everything you guys offer on top of the education. And that's what kind of became the foundation of understanding it's not just about how you make money, but how do you actually make it grow. So interest rate. So Albert Einstein talked about population doubling, right? So you divide it by the number 72. Same thing happens with your interest. So if we were to have $10,000 in an account today and we were to apply this law to it, and we were getting 1% in the bank, right? Because they give us less than that. There's nothing. So the money you put in the bank should be the money that you pay bills with. But you shouldn't rely on that money to grow or multiply or anything. If anything, that money is constantly getting taxed. Then we get the middle bracket, which is tax exempt, which means that you're not paying taxes today, but you're going to pay later. Which at that point, do you even want to pay taxes? Because it's later, right? It's a different time of life. And then we have tax exempt, which is what the 1% of the population knows about, where how do you make your money grow? Where do you avoid taxes, right? And you find these loopholes. And they're not even loopholes, they're just it's information that's out there.
Out there, yeah, we don't know. Right.
Yeah.
Tap in. Yeah.
And I tell people, it's the same thing when you buy a car, when you purchase a home, right? Big purchases. You just educate yourself, like, how do I go about and doing it? And the way you do it may not be the way that I do it, right? Because we're very different individuals. And so understanding what do you want? Understanding more deeper than just money. What do you want? And where do you put your money in to multiply? My daughters have accounts, which they're through life insurance, and they were very little. So the cost of life insurance is like $20, right? Like, I pay more for a burger, right? So I had to look at that. Perspective had to change. I think I was spending, I don't know, like $2,000 a month on who knows what, right? It was just a habit. And you slide that card. And there's nobody to tell you. And I don't know if you guys seen that guy on YouTube. He goes around smacking junk food off of people. We need that in finance. Someone needs to, right? And don't chill.
Black guy wearing
I think. And I always think, oh my God, I need one of them, right?
Crazy. Boom.
Right? Like, get it out of the way.
Yeah.
It's the same perspective. Even the way I eat changed. Like, the way I eat,
It sure does,
there's no
right?
snacks in my home.
That's right.
Yep.
My daughters hate it.
Shoot.
So what do they snack on? Please tell me.
I know, right?
Apples. I'm like, you can have an apple or an orange. That's like,
That's it.
And I swear to you, like, I have my 9-year-old who eats all the time, and it's like 9 o'clock bedtime. And she's like, I'm so hungry. I'm like, go look in the fridge. If you find something to eat it. If not, then we gotta go to bed. Like,
That is what it is.
I had to do that to myself. Like, if you had to understand, I was spending like $30 a day at Starbucks and not realizing. Imagine how it adds up. So imagine if I was earning $30 a day.
Right? What if it were reversed? What a concept. That's where I was at with me and DoorDash. I know where you're at.
So that's
I've never done DoorDash.
That's when it got interesting. That's when I was like,
Don't start.
Me neither.
If you do, let me know. If you do, let me know. But it's just a matter of understanding how interest works. Interest can be your best friend or your worst enemy, and everything is customized. So based on the plans that you have and the goals that you aspire to have, I collaborate a lot with like realtors, lenders, because everyone I sit with wants to buy a home, and everyone they sit with has already bought a home and wants to know, how do we manage our money? How do you manage money? And it's just understanding the way money works, and it's constantly shifting. I mean, the dollar is losing its value and currency is changing. So
It's in that limbo phase, like a hybrid, if you will. You know what I mean? Absolutely.
It's kind of cool though,
right?
Because we know both
some of us
sides.
in the computer, right? But then it's like us, we're humans too.
Like, I show up with cash and they're like, we're not accepting cash.
Isn't that the weirdest?
That was weird.
Society.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Sabrina,
So
I don't even know.
cash
Bizarre.
because I don't.
You don't even
I don't
carry
want to
them.
spend it.
You don't Sandra.
Oh.
I'm
what
more
about you?
mindful of my, spending if it's on my card, because then
Okay.
it's like.
Ah,
but
you'll
then if I
see
have it there, I'm like, I like
Right.
give it away. I do.
That's interesting because I'm the opposite.
Right.
I'm like, I got
On that
$50
card?
left. What are we gonna
Yeah,
do with this?
because I can see
$50?
that.
Yeah.
Right.
It's gonna, and it goes away so
When you
like,
just swiping and clicking and just clicking and
But
swiping.
if I have it, even which is I don't regret it. I love helping people. So, but like if I see homeless or whatever, I'll give them 20 foot,
I'm the
whatever.
same.
And
Right,
not
yeah.
that I don't want to continue giving, but sometimes I should say be more mindful of my money.
Yeah.
What do you want to eat? We're gonna come in and what do you want to eat from the store?
But maybe it's as women too.
$2.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a good one. We're
Right.
gonna adopt that.
That's true.
But maybe as women, when we're working and we're tired and we're just like, we gotta feed people. That's where
I think so.
you go.
Gives a
Oh,
great joy.
we got
Mhm.
$50, family.
Right.
Here you go.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe
Yeah.
that's a thing.
I think so.
Yeah, but
I think so. Nurturing things.
So back to what you were saying with finance. It's so funny because I went out last night to this mixer party thing, and then anyway, long story short, I went out, and so a friend of mine was in the car. I was driving and started talking about finance and insurance, life insurance, and stuff like that. And you know, we're me and him are still gonna meet so I could get more information. But essentially, he was saying how like the 1% stays rich is by lending themselves money back
That's right.
with like 1% interest or something crazy where they avoid taxes by lending money to yourself.
Yeah.
I don't comprehend it fully yet, and you may, but I think there is a lot, you know,
I
that
know.
people need to learn.
Yeah.
Because even me and my boyfriend were in the car, and we're like, what? Like, can you explain that? Because he was like, yeah, even like this one guy, I guess with crypto, you could lend money against your money, and you basically stay rich
Pay
because
yourself.
of it.
So you get
No,
it
you don't
interest-
pay yourself. You lend it. It's
It's like a bid, I believe. It's like you're bidding on not the quantity, the price, so to speak, of the actual Bitcoin, because it doesn't even exist.
Isn't that the craziest thing?
It's they're
Where are
just
we? What
machines,
times
so-
are we living in,
I
ladies?
don't
But
know,
that's so
whatever-
expensive.
all of
whatever
Fugazi.
currency,
It's
I'm
just
accepting
all of
checks.
Fugazi.
yeah. I've
Right.
invested in some
That's funny.
Bitcoin or when it was kind of.
just like
But like two of those, but I did make some money by just testing it out. And it was only a couple hundred, but I was
It's
like,
money.
"What? This is real? I can take
Right.
it out."
Right.
And I took it out, and I'm like, "It was real money."
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's the kicker,
I need to go back though to really
Yeah.
like study
But
it and do it
We need
with
to get
with the strategy.
Mr. Harris back.
Yes, please. And
absolutely.
please invite me back.
Right.
He
But
broke
you know
that shit
what?
down.
In a
I'd like to-
nutshell,
I need to listen to that.
when you break
Right.
it down, like I think about this show, my daughters watch The Dog Whisperer with Cesar Millan, and I remember when I was young, I'd watch it with my parents. I was like, he's not training the dog, he's training the adults, right? To train the dog. Honestly, I think that's what finance is. Like, I come in to like discipline your mind. Like, it requires discipline to
Sure does.
not
Look
want
at
to
your money.
spend.
I know.
Yeah.
Like, I count the days of like, oh my God, it's been 5 days I haven't spent $1. It feels amazing to
I
be
know.
in that space.
I know when you do the
Yes.
right thing financially, you do
Yes.
feel good. You be like, God, I didn't even eat out this whole
But
week.
you know how
Yep.
much work it
It's
is.
horrible.
I be so worried
it's
about myself.
horrible.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where you vow. That's why I think when I see cash, I'm like, okay, $50. What are we going to spend it on? Do I spend it on myself? Do I want to do it with the girls? Like,
Yeah.
how do we actually? And that's the other part of it. That's what makes it so individualistic, where it's the experience you want to have with it. Most of us don't even sit and think about the experience. We're just spending,
Doing.
doing life.
Right.
And it's about just slowing down and creating this discipline in your mind and kind of like, I call it like a live brain surgery. Like, that's how I feel. Like, you're totally conducting surgery in my brain while I'm alive.
Yeah.
so be
It's
mindful
intense.
of that. And then being, patient with yourself in the process, because it's not a, we
Quick
sit
thing
with
one
you,
day
yeah,
to the
you're
next.
ready to go. It took me, I've been in the industry for 6 years, but I think it took me at least, I would say, a solid 2 years to fully understand what am I doing. But I think that process in itself allowed me to really connect with my clients, where it's like, oh, I totally get it. I know exactly what's happening in your brain.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
And you
let's figure this
work
out.
it out for them on
I'm
layman's
definitely
terms.
gonna be
There you
calling
go.
you. Definitely gonna be calling
Oh.
you.
Right?
Right.
Verifying
Same.
that, like, don't listen to them. Come to. No, I'm just kidding.
Do you have any financial advice or you can give to our listeners, like as far as any 1, 2, 3 pointers, like you should do this, do that?
Sure. Yes. So the number one thing I want to say is get familiar with life insurance. For sure, get familiar
so
with
true.
life insurance, not just for the benefits of not paying taxes in, but learning the what you get in return, and thinking of, your loved ones, right? Like, you don't think about those things. That's number one, getting educated on life insurance. Number two, only keep the money that you're going to pay your bills with in the bank. That's it.
Amen.
Okay. The rest of it, pull it
Amen.
out. And number three, pay yourself first.
Yes. I
Pay
do
yourself first.
Amen.
Like, it's like the airplane example where it's like you want to save other people, put the mask on first, save yourself first, and then you can go and help others.
Okay.
That'd probably be the last one. And then everything else is just, be mindful of yourself. I do what we call financial needs analysis at least once a week, where I'm like looking at my numbers, where are we at? Okay, here's how much we need. Which is things that come up, and having a cushion. My mom always taught me to put like money under the mattress.
Same.
I'm so good at it that I hide money, and I'm like, oh my god, where did
I
I
forgot.
right?
That's happened to me. Yeah.
Have you done that?
And I still haven't found it. It's like,
Right?
I'm like, oh.
I don't even know where it's at.
But it'll show up at the most
It'll
At the
show
right
up.
time.
right.
It always
Best
does.
time.
Yeah.
I can't even tell you. Like, I found $300. I was like, oh my god, we're going to eat. Let's go eat.
Exactly.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
So, question. So, if you're talking about having this money, like just like underneath a mattress. Say you want to buy a home, like you have to at least have that money.
Yeah.
Like actually in a financial institute, correct?
Correct.
So
Yeah, yes. So that's another thing. Yes, you do. You do, which you can do, but you also want to know what you're doing with the rest of it. So we call it discretionary income, which is after your bills are paid, what you need to sustain life. What are you doing with the rest of it? A lot of us are just carelessly spending it. When you actually look at the number, like my number was $2,000 a month, and I was like, what do you mean? No way. There's no way there's a discretionary $2,000. And when I went back to my statements, it was little things that I had to just kind of get accustomed to in adjusting my life, where you're kind of working on all baskets at the same time, where long-term savings, short-term emergency savings, and then your day-to-day. If you're looking to buy a home, obviously the structure of that would look a little different.
Right.
And it's just understanding how much time do you have, how much do you actually make, how much can we put aside. And the rest of it comes where the discipline comes from, where it's like, all right, now this lifestyle, but it's so temporary. Whatever lifestyle you may have, you know what I mean? And you'd be surprised. I mean, most people are in a position, and when I'm talking about one single income, are in a position to put $500 away. But how do you manipulate that on a day-to-day basis with so much pressure and keeping up with Mr. Jones and knowing that Mr. Jones is broke too, right?
That part.
Oh yeah, I can understand that because I've always been taught that I have to have my actual primary account, and then my savings account, and then I'll start actually putting money from my primary account from my check into my savings account, little by little, so that way I'll always have money on me.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, I have money put away for a emergency occasion that may pop up every now and again.
Tires,
maybe.
something like a new appliance. Yeah, you never know. And that's a good thing to do. Typically 3 to 6 months is what they recommend, where whatever the cost of your bills are, work towards that goal. Having goals is also key to finance, where you should know, like, okay, what am I going to do with it? Because if you don't know, like I always tell people, if you don't have like a solid foundation to stand on, you're going to fall for anything. You're going to fall. So
Right.
I'm feeling some kind of
And
way. I'm
know.
get my
just-
life in order.
Right? I'm like, oh God.
I know, right? I'm like,
I've been there.
And just for a background, I'm a millennial.
Okay.
Just for a background.
FYI, you put that disclaimer
Just for background.
Yeah, me too.
One last question about finance. What do you suggest, like people when it comes to putting together retirement, funding away? Like, if you have a job, is that like an important thing to open up, like a special account just for your retirement?
Special account. Yes, but more importantly than opening one is understanding the account. I'll tell you a backstory. My mom in 2008, when the market crashed, she came up to me. I was 15 years old, and she's like, "Mija, my money, my 401k is losing money. What do I do?" I'm like, "I don't know." She's like, "What are you talking about? You were born in this country. You should know, right?" And I was totally offended. And I was like, "She's kind of right." And so then years later, I realized, because I've been in HR, like in my career, I've been in HR, and I had no idea how a 401k worked. And so the best thing to do is understand, okay, how do these things work? Okay. That's where the education comes into play. But absolutely, having retirement, there's annuities that you can get just on your own account. I think you got to be at a certain age, a certain amount can go in. An annuity, basically, the definition of an annuity is you're going to get paid for the rest of your life once you're retired,
right.
Even if that money runs out, because that's how these accounts work. So understanding that banks and institutions, they're just a money business. They want you to put their money in there, right? because they're going to now go and multiply it. How do you do what the banks do? That's what you want to do. That's how you start to decide, should I open an account at work? Should I open this account? Like what's the purpose of it? So
what do you recommend for kids? I have a Mariah Tavares online. She's on Instagram Live with you right now, and she wants to know, what do you recommend for kids? Saving.
There's a couple things. So if it's for college, there's plans for that work very, very well, but they're very specific to where if they don't go to college, then that money just goes away, right? and so there's what I have for my girls, which is life insurance. And so through anything that goes through insurance, you don't get charged taxes in it. That's a loophole. So people, the 1% puts their money through there. Like, for example, I ended up crashing a car many, many years ago. I got hit, and that money came in. I never had to claim taxes on it, didn't pay taxes on it. Anything through insurance, you don't pay taxes. Okay. And the other beauty of it is they're covered for the rest of their life. I think I pay like $19 for their insurance, and the rest of the money that goes in there goes into like a sort of like what we call like a savings. Okay. And then I can pull it out. I'm not at any time. Obviously, you do need vested time for your money to grow. But at any given point, once they're older, college funding, they want to buy their first car, quinceañeras, whatever the situation may be, and we don't pay taxes on that money.
I thought life insurance was just like when someone passes away or something like that.
You know what's crazy? I'll give you guys an insight story about all this. People think that, right? So I've been divorced for 4 years now, and I still have my ex-husband as the beneficiary. Now, he pays for this account. And I said, it's kind of like an investment to you. I said, because when I die and you're the only beneficiary, like, you're going to get all this money back, right? But let's just hope I don't die, right? But that's how you almost want to remove the emotion. Because when it comes to money and there's emotions involved, it's going to get a little wild. But if you remove the emotion of really understanding, what do I want to do with this money? How do I want to distribute this money? The experience you want to have with the money? Because life is about experience. My mom had this saying that said, let the money suffer and let the person enjoy life, right? That's exactly what you want to look at. So all great questions, all the questions you have, but it's a matter of like, okay, this is what you want. Let's figure out a plan for you, because it's always going to just be different. It's always going to be different, But I hope that makes sense.
It makes absolute
I love talking about this stuff.
We love you talking about it too. Just want you to let you know, everybody.
It's good stuff.
I know, right? It kind of makes you a little scary. It's like, ooh, am I doing what I'm supposed to do? I never feel like
I'm calling my bank on Monday.
I was sitting here going, oh God.
This is the stuff that they don't teach us at school. That no one, unless
and your families. I didn't grow up that way. My family didn't teach me shite about nothing.
I know. It's sad when you look at it in that perspective. And in China, Germany, all these other countries, 5th and 6th graders are learning this stuff. Why do you think when you flip over something, like, where is it made from?
Wow.
They learn about money. So my girls, I'm like, look, at school you're going to learn what you're going to learn at school, but at home we're learning discipline, mindset, character, right? These things. Yeah, it's just I'm gonna teach them the things that they're not gonna teach.
And that's generational wealth starting right there.
Right there.
That's how that starts.
Yes, Sabrina.
Right?
Yes,
when we say the Jewish community and how really, really, really in tune with their finances and how they keep it in the family. That is what that is about. And that's why people don't understand that true definition of generational wealth. That is such a big deal. It's huge.
Absolutely.
Most of us don't have that.
Right. Well, I guess when we think wealth, we think you got to start with money.
But the wealth isn't currency. It's education.
That's exactly what I was going. I said, the wealth is the education.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Wow.
When I talk about this stuff, I feel extremely powerful.
Right. I know, right?
Right. For sure, we're going to invite you back on the show. One of the last questions that I had for everyone on the panel was what advice or what would you tell that 6-year-old or that 10-year-old self, or your 10-year-old self when you were young, and what advice do you have for young girls now looking up to you or trying to pursue anything?
That's a deep one.
That's why I asked it.
I know, right? Shit, I need some time.
So the advice I would give is, I think it's the advice I give my daughters all the time, where I say, you tell your brain what to do. Your brain doesn't tell you what to do. So we kind of forget somewhere along the line in life where we actually have the choice to do whatever we want. And so that would probably be it. Allow myself the permission to just do, right? Not be afraid, not be, kind of like contaminated with other people's opinions and thoughts, and just be myself, right? Like the fake it till you make it, remove that part of it, right? Like just be you, come as you are. And then the other part, what was the second part of the question?
What advice do you have for young girls, coming up, and especially if they're trying to do what you're trying to do?
I would say, I think I tell my girls, pay attention to yourself. Like, if you're going to learn anybody or anything in this world, you're going to spend the rest of your life with yourself. So pay attention to yourself, how you are, how you feel, what certain environments make you feel, where you feel your best at. I think that's what journaling, right? When you mentioned about writing, I think journaling is so key, because I'll go back on my journal and be like, oh my God, I was feeling amazing during this time, right? What was I doing? How was I thinking? Paying attention to yourself is probably the best key. And then paying attention to others, simultaneously learning from others, being a student at all times. Like, I tell my girls, if you ever feel like you know everything, smack yourself. Like,
that's a good one.
You're the smartest person in the room. You need to go to another room.
I'm gonna tell that to myself.
That's
you
true.
don't know everything, and it's so humbling at the same time, because you can show up and I can talk about money all day, but the reality is that I came from the same background that all of you came from. I struggled the same way. So it's one of those things where just knowing, pay attention to yourself and pay attention to the room, the energy in the room. That would be it.
Thank you.
That is so awesome. My gosh, I appreciate.
So remind me of the first question. What I would tell my
your younger self. Yeah.
I would say to just be myself and continue to be bold, to not be afraid. I think not be afraid of being who I am. And what I would tell young women is that your trauma doesn't define who you are.
Ooh, yeah.
And to always remember that, because we all have situations and things, and we shouldn't let that hold us back. And I myself have done a lot of self-help and like workshops and work on myself to be better and to not let those struggles from my past keep getting in the way. And I think it's just I've realized that we all have these things. They're different situations and struggles and traumas, but it's a constant work. It's constant work. You constantly have to work on yourself to just continue to be better and better, because there's moments where I feel down or whatnot, even though at times I feel like, oh, I've healed from so many different things and I'm great because I've healed, and then it's like new things happen and then I'm like, oh, and then I'm feeling uneasy, so I've realized that it's just a constant thing, to continue to have faith and be spiritual. I'm really spiritual, so just constantly working on yourself will get you through anything, I think.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I think for myself, what I would tell my 6-year-old, 10-year-old self, whatever self, to invest in myself, to remember to always invest in yourself first. And that's not to keep yourself, always first, but it's to always know your worth. And to keep that in the forefront, because I think a lot of women, Latino women also, we tend to want to help and provide and do and give and here's our last dollar type thing, without remembering what about us. And we suffer. I know myself, I've done it many years. I'm still doing it. So I have to remember me first. Right. Take care of you before you help others, because you can't. And what was the other part?
It's constant reminder.
Constant reminder.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, advice to younger girls. Oh, that's so cute. It would be that. Trust your intuition. Invest in yourself. You come first. No one else.
For sure.
Period. End of story.
I want to know how long. When did you take on that ownership? You know what I'm saying?
Probably yesterday.
Okay, that part right there. I love it.
Serious.
Oh,
you have no idea how loaded that question is.
I know,
for
real, right? Like
for capital real. Yeah.
Wow.
Just you get to a point in life where you have 0 F's.
Right.
And you just go, you know what? No. I'm good.
Doesn't.
We're good.
Right.
Yeah.
Right now, today is me, and I don't need that drama. And I've survived so much, and that I hate even saying that out loud because everybody has.
Right.
But no, really.
Yeah.
Right? This trauma that some people carry, some people have worked through. It expresses in weird different ways, and you don't realize that until you go, oh wait, I'm investing in me.
Right.
Hold up. And so
different.
that whole dynamic, that whole story inside you changes, and your personality changes, and beautiful things start to happen, and you get huge life lessons. God says, oh, you didn't learn that. Here, let me show you this with a capital whatever.
Yeah.
And you learn it, and you realize, oh, wow, that's what that was. And so that is a true statement just a few days ago yesterday.
Beautiful.
I know, because that takes a great deal of courage and a great deal of work. You know what I mean?
Sure does.
And the courage, that's the part.
The courage.
Oh my God, I wish I had my book here. Oh.
Yeah.
I have a little quote from the Poetess Reigns. And so once, like sometimes when you're, in your private time, you take your bath or you take your shower or whatever, and you get out the shower and the bath, and you're kind of one with yourself, and you're kind of in the mirror, and you're like looking at yourself, and you're like checking your whole body out.
It's
You're
your me
checking
time. That's right.
That audit, right? You know how we do that? I also think that what we need to do is that for our brain. So I say that, like, when we choose to get naked in our mind, that is when the art of life and love can truly begin. Because I just know myself, it takes a lot of courage, though. Most of the times I run from it or ran from it.
Same.
I'm growing. I'm getting bigger. Every day is a work in progress. But I used to run from them. So I'm proud of myself. I'm not running like, oh. I don't do that anymore. The anxiety and the panic and that. All of that that goes with all of that. You know what I mean? So I'm just trying to be like, okay, just what you were explaining, Sabrina, like, take care of Jackie. Like, what are Jackie's needs? Like you said, you're always giving. You're giving to your children. You're giving to your significant other. You're giving to your employer. You're giving. Like, what am I just gonna kick back and do what I want to do? You know what I mean? Sometimes you don't even know what that is.
Or
So
just
I'm learning
check in with
myself.
yourself.
Right. Just that self-audit, that self-check, just kind of in here, where am I? Like, what I'm learning now, that if I'm having a day where I wake up and I'm feeling anxious and I'm feeling weird, because sometimes I get that. I don't know about other people. I just get those funky days, and it's just like I can't even put my finger on it, but I just don't feel right. It's just my spirit is not right. It's just I don't want to do this today. What I'm doing now is I'm just articulating that to myself. Then if I can find somebody else to listen to me, I'll tell them too. You know what I mean? But at least you got to be real with yourself. You know what I'm saying? And I'm okay to say that. I'm like, well, you know what, Jackie, I'm feeling this way. I'm feeling this emotion for that.
Probably
And that is an emotion.
And all this stuff happening.
It could be
around us.
anything.
Anything.
But it still disturbs your spirit at that
For
moment.
sure.
So to be able to take the time to evaluate it. And for me, it's growth. For you, back in the day, I would have just popped a pill. Oh, anxiety, give me a Xanax. Woo, I'm gone. Keep it moving.
Oh my
to the
gosh,
I'm
yes,
just
right?
keeping it 100 with you.
So on that note, one of the things that I learned just 3-4 years ago is because I was in that mode a long time ago, but I also have learned transcendental meditation, which I practice 2 times a day.
Could you repeat that?
Transcendental meditation. It's an old technique of meditation. It's Vedic, meaning it's not Buddhist. And it really has completely saved my life. The anxiety, the depression, the angst, the self-doubt, all the negative and things that we carry inside. It's like a washing machine for your emotions, and you meditate. Just when you meditate, normal people meditate. With different people and folks, techniques, it helps, it alleviates all that. So there's no need for medication, there's no need for drama, there's no need for self-harm.
I know.
It's such a complex thing that we all are in with COVID and the anxiousness of being over it and all that, but you can't live with that angst inside us anymore. It'll kill you. You just can't do it. So find a way, find a technique, and been there, done that.
No, right?
I have the Calm app.
I remember calling
The
Sabrina.
Calm app, for
I have
sure.
the Calm app.
I remember, I remember calling Sabrina and saying, "Hey, I just got a quick question." She was like, "Let me call you back. I'm meditating." I'm like, "Huh?" I never heard nobody tell me that before. I was like,
funny.
"Wow, this is."
I've never heard anybody tell me that they
Yeah, that's the
This
first
is
time I ever
good.
heard it.
Answer, girl.
Really?
Yeah, and I was
Actually,
like,
that's
wow.
interesting.
Why'd you even
Yeah.
answer? Because normally, like when we were working on the job on contact,
Meditating.
you were like, "I'm gonna go meditate. I'll be back in an hour or whatever." And I'm
Right.
like, "Okay, cool." Like you don't have to tell me I was
I
gonna
think
blow
when
up
it's
your
a
phone,
new
but
person
cool.
that I don't know and they don't know my routine, like
Uh-huh.
6 to 7, do not even think you're going to get a hold of me. Nope, I'm out.
It's a wrap.
It just is. It's like water breathing. I wake up that way. I do 20 minutes, and then 6 to
great.
7, I do 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I need to do more of it.
It's hard
What
though.
I think the magic is in
hard.
that is that the people who are aligned and congruent with their words and actions, you can trust them.
That's
You know what I
that's
mean?
what that's what this is about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it does something, right? You're never going to forget that. In fact, you're going to apply meditating and
Right.
realize when I'm meditating, no one can interrupt me. Like, right? And actually,
Right.
so I think that's the other important part. Learning and then having to instill that knowledge into others, whoever. Like, I know there's so many people that probably saw me as a young girl, 12 years old, in sales, like, who took on to me. And they're like, okay, we're going to teach her. And we're going to
Yeah.
show her the things that she's not going to learn or help her not stumble as much, right? And that's a big part of
It
so,
is.
That's a
however
big
you
deal.
meditate, you guys should share it.
Yeah.
I mean, transcendental meditation is one technique, and I'm not trying to make this that show, but it's it's that for me. I know I've tried other techniques that try to quiet your brain. This is not that because I cannot quiet my brain. The stuff needs to
It's
come out.
constant.
Right, yeah.
It's not about monkey mind and quiet. No,
Wow.
that's a whole nother story.
That's what I
Yeah,
thought meditating was. I was like, I couldn't meditate. I think too much. I'm always
No.
thinking.
And then your mind is like, ooh,
And
ooh, ooh,
that's-
ooh.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's the problem. It's the education between the two, the differences.
And you know, I've actually been for the past, I would say 2-3 years, I've gotten really good about self care.
That's
So
right.
I like already. I'm always like, I want to go get a green juice. That's gonna make me feel better, and I'm like, I'm gonna go do it.
That's
like,
what we're talking about,
I'm super
right.
aware of now
Good
of
for
like,
you.
this is what I need. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not feeling great. Okay, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna watch a TV show. Who cares if it's 11 a.m. And
Right.
I don't care about judgment anymore. And again, it's still work in progress, but also back to the meditation. Like I did a meditation retreat. That one was spiritual. The year into the pandemic, so it was a New Year's Eve. Into the 2019.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so
That's
it
cool.
It was crazy eerie. The fact that I was like, because so through the pandemic, I've been completely fine mentally, and so I think
Nice.
it's because I was just so I was prepared from coming out of this retreat. But and so back to what you're saying, and during the retreat, me and my boyfriend did it, and it was really hard because all these things would come up and words and memories and a lot of scenes from TV shows, and I'm like, what is happening? Why am I thinking of Dexter? This is really violent right now.
Oh my God.
Yes, and then I like talking to the to one of the people that work there. They taught me that that's what it actually, this kind of meditation, that's what it actually is. You're supposed to allow all those thoughts to almost
go,
like get out of
to
you.
purge,
Yes,
kind of
that's
like.
what we do.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, okay. So for a while, I thought I was doing it wrong. We're like, what are we doing wrong? 'Cause it's all this chatter, but it's about just like letting it get out.
It's the best
you
thing
know?
for you. It will change your life.
I think that's amazing. You looking at that clock, Baraka? The time just goes by so fast.
It
doesn't
sure did, didn't
I
it?
know. See, I
It's fun.
told you.
And let me just say, I love your voice, your energy. It's very
Same.
calming. It's beautiful.
It is
Why,
beautiful.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Now we know who to call on for voice work, right?
Yay! Lord Rocker rocks. Lord Rocker rocks. But you guys know whatever
Connectors.
I can do.
Same.
Absolutely. We
Same.
are family,
Big supporters.
sisterhood, whatever
Yeah.
we need. We're going to make. I can't wait to. I know I can feel it in my spirit. You know, you see the finished product. I can just like see us all out there working. Does that make sense to
Makes
you?
total sense.
I definitely got to talk to you because I got to get my money right. Older and older, and I can't
All
work
of
as
us,
hard.
we're all
I can't work right. We need to schedule a workshop, casting, starring castings.
Oh, there we
Right,
go.
right, absolutely,
Let's do a
absolutely.
workshop. Great. Let's produce it. We're good.
Yay! Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us here on the Poetry of Justice show with Jackie Ray Phillips on yanksradio.com and acceleratorradio.net. We'll be back next week. What do we got going on next week, Lil Rock?
Men in business. So we'll talk to the men.
Ooh. All right.
See what they got to say.
We can have an audience, right?
Right? Thank you so much, everybody, for coming and having a